Yes, to see the mic.
Yes, Maharaj, we have this mic.
I want to see. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is it louder?
Yes, Maharaj, this is better.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I have a bad throat, so I'm leading kirtan. Otherwise I was going to get worse. So we're going to start the second canto from today. As you know, there are 12 cantos in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 80,000 verses, and each verse is very powerful. So we're going to read, we're going to do the second canto today. The invocation and this text one. So I'll have my assistant read it. So we're doing fourth step in God realization. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Fourth step in God realization.
Canto 2, Chapter 1, Verse number 1. Invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Translation. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Gopal Vasudevaya means Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Since by chanting the name of Krishna, Vasudeva, one can achieve all the good results of charity, austerity, and penances. It is to be understood that by chanting of this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, the author, or the speaker, or any one of the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam is offering respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the principles of creation are described, and thus the first canto will be called creation. Similarly, in the second canto, the post-creation cosmic manifestation is described. The different planetary systems are described in the second canto as different parts of the Lord. For this reason, the second canto will be called the cosmic manifestation. There are 10 chapters in the second canto, and in these 10 chapters, the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam and the different symptoms of this purpose are narrated. The first chapter describes the glories of chanting, and it hints at the process by which the neophyte devotees will perform meditation on the universal form of the Lord. In the first verse, Sukadeva Goswami replies to the question of Maharaj Parikshit, who asked him about one's duties at the point of death. Maharaj Parikshit was glad to receive Sukadeva Goswami, as he was proud of being a descendant of Arjuna, the intimate friend of Krishna. Personally, he was very humble and meek, but he expressed his gladness that Lord Krishna was very kind to his grandfathers, the sons of Pandu, especially his old grandfather Arjuna. And because Lord Krishna was always pleased with Maharaj Parikshit's family, at the verge of Maharaj Parikshit's death, Sukadeva Goswami was sent to help him in the process of self-realization. Maharaj Parikshit was a devotee of Lord Krishna from his childhood, so he had a natural affection for Krishna. Sukadeva Goswami could understand understand his devotion. Therefore, he welcomed the questions about the king's beauty, because the king hinted that worship of Lord Krishna is the ultimate function of every living entity. Sukadeva Goswami welcomed the suggestion and said, because you have raised questions about Krishna, the question is most glorious. The translation of the first verse is as follows.
Text 1, second canto.
Text 1. Variya Shishuka Uvacha Shishuka Uvacha Variya Mesha Te Prashna Krita Lokam Vipam Atmavim Sammata Pumsam Translation. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, your question...
Word meaning.
Word to word meaning. Sri Shuka Uvacha. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, very young, glorious, Asian, this, your, Prashna, question, Krita, made by you, Lokahitam, beneficial for all men, Kripa, O king, Atmavit, Transcendentalist, Sammata, approved, Pumsam, all men, Srotavya Adishu, all kinds of hearing, what is, Para, the supreme, translation and purport by his divine wish, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is trying something better for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists. Purport. Even the very question is so nice that it is the best subject matter for hearing. Simply, by such questioning and hearing, one can achieve the highest perfection state of life. Because Lord Krishna is the original Supreme Person, any question about him is original and perfect. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that the highest perfection of life is to achieve the transcendental loving service of Krishna. Because question and answer about Krishna elevate one to the transcendental position. The question of Maharaj Parikshit about Krishna philosophy are greatly glorified. Maharaj Parikshit wanted to absorb his mind completely in Krishna, and such absorption can be effected simply by hearing about the uncommon activities of Krishna. For instance, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of Lord, Krishna's appearance, disappearance, and activities, one can immediately return home back to Godhead and never come back to this miserable condition of material existence. It is very auspicious, therefore, to hear always about Krishna. So, Maharaj Parikshit requested Sukadeva Goswami to narrate the activities of Krishna so that he could engage his mind in Krishna. The activities of Krishna are non-different from Krishna himself. As long as one is engaged in hearing such transcendental activities of Krishna, he remains aloof from the conditioned life of material existence. The topics of Lord Krishna are so auspicious that they purify the speaker, the hearer, and the inquirer. They are compared to the Ganges waters which flow from the toe of the Lord Krishna. Wherever the Ganges waters go, they purify the land and the person who bathes in them. Similarly, Krishna Katha, or the topics of Krishna, are so pure that wherever they are spoken, the place, the hearer, and inquirer, the speaker, and all concerned become purified. translation, you can repeat responsibly. Srila Gopal Krishna said, My dear king, your question is glorious. God is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing. And is approved by all transcendentalists.
Om Yanti Bendasya Jnananjanashlakya Chakshumritanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Savidamena Bhutale Rupa Kalamayam Radhisvaham Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Prabhupada wanted that every temple should read one verse of the Bhagavatam every morning. So we were just commencing the canto. As I mentioned earlier, there are 12 cantos in the Srimad Bhagavatam, consisting of 18,000 verses. And each verse is so powerful that if you follow the message, you achieve perfection of life. So we are starting this second canto in chapter 1. The first canto, we read how the Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. In other words, it gives you the essence of devotional service. And the first canto, towards the end of the first canto, we see the Parikshit Maharaj inquires. What is his inquiry? Parikshit Maharaj was the emperor of the world. And from his very birth, he had no interest in anything mundane. He would never play with friends, or no interest in sports. He would just be with his deities. So, Parikshit Maharaj was a very noble person, a real Rajrishi. Rajrishi means one of the ruler and a saintly person at the same time. So Parikshit Maharaj was out in the forest, and Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by a Brahmin boy. Why? He was in the forest and he was thirsty. He wanted some water, and he saw there were no water taps, but there was some light from a cottage nearby. So he concluded somebody must be staying there, and he went there. Inside was a sage, and the sage was absorbed in deep meditation, eyes closed. And when he saw the king enter his cottage, he did not protest. Nor did he receive the king properly. So the king was insulted. I went to this hermit's house, and he didn't even bother to talk to me or look at me. So he left in anger. And as he left the house in anger, his son, Shringi, was playing nearby. So he left the house in anger. The son of the sage thought, this man's, he's a king and he's just seen my father. Let me see what he said. And when he went there, what did he see? A dead snake wrapped around his father by, he guessed, might be the king, because no one except my son is here. So the son told the king, "Did you place that snake on my father's neck?" And when he said yes, he said, "You have the audacity of insulting a Brahmin, I'm going to curse you." What was the curse? That you're going to die at the end of 7 days. So, Parikshit Maharaj was not undisturbed. When he was in the womb of his mother Uttara, Ashwatthama had released a Brahmastra weapon. And the Brahmastra weapon is so precise that it will only hit the target and nothing more. These days you see the planes drop bombs, and very often it goes to the innocent people, not the wrong person. The Brahmastra, let's say there are 1,000 people, and your target is a man in the middle, it will only hit the man in the middle. So Ashwatthama released a Brahmastra on Uttara, and Parikshit Maharaj was in the womb of his mother. So Uttara was a great devotee of the Lord. And when the Lord saw what Ashwatthama had done, he expanded himself and saw the beautiful form of the Personality of the Lord. And Parikshit Maharaj saw this beautiful form of the Lord because he was in the mother's womb. And all his life, he was searching for somebody who looked identical to what he saw in the womb. And he could never find one. Therefore, his name is Parikshit. Parikshit means one who is inquiring, one who is searching. So Parikshit Maharaj was searching for God. So, we, in the previous canto, read about the appearance of Narada Muni. Narada Muni also is addressed as Bhagavan many times. Bhagavan means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You all hear me clearly in the back? Can you understand it clearly? Okay. So, Parikshit Maharaj, Narada Muni, he appears when we read that Vyasadeva, after having compiled the vast Vedic literature, is still feeling, I have missed something. He wasn't feeling satisfied. And he went to his spiritual master, Narada Muni, who explained to him that the cause of the dissatisfaction was he is not exclusively concentrated on pure devotional service. The Vedas give you knowledge for legalized sense gratification and karma, but it doesn't exclusively talk about devotional service. Whereas the Bhagavatam concentrates on pure devotional service. Niskam bhav. And if one enters service with this mentality, he makes spiritual progress. So, Vyasadeva then compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and Vyasadeva in the Bhagavatam presents, from beginning to end, the importance of pure devotional service. Vyasadeva knew that Vasudeva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the invocation, the mantra is Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The Prabhupada explains And Vasudeva means Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachinanda Vigraha. Anadagade Govinda, Karna Karna. There are many Ishwar. Ishwar means controller. But the Supreme Controller is Vasudeva, or Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So, in this text 1, what is Srila Goswami saying? My dear king, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question, the prime subject matter we're hearing. So we see in the material world, everyone is hearing and talking, isn't it? It's not that only the spiritualists do it. The spiritualists hear and talk, but the subject matter of the hearing and talking is Krishna, devotional service. How can we expand devotional service? How can we expand the chanting of the Holy Krishna mantra? The materialists, they have so many subject matters. Like in India at one time, there was no TV channel at all. Then came Doordarshan. And then from Doordarshan came so many other channels. And now there are more than 1,000 channels that you can have access to. And everywhere, somebody is talking and somebody is hearing. But these subject matters will not satisfy the individual. The individual should be worried about what is one's duty. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, when they saw the Lord, they said, the society considers us to be very important, significant, but we don't even know who am I, who am I. So that knowledge is very necessary. Prabhupada was often lectured at university, and he would say, is there any department that tells you what happens after death? And they would be silent. So, the prime subject matter for hearing is, what is our duty? And over here, Parikshit Maharaj is saying, what is my duty of one who is about to die? So, everybody has to die. As in English they say, as sure as death. I mean, what I'm saying is, as sure, 100%. Like death is 100% for everyone. So, we should be interested in spiritual subject matter because spiritual matters can only satisfy the individual. So, Parikshit Maharaj's question was very much appreciated by Srila Goswami. Why? Because he asked for knowledge that will benefit everyone. There are, broadly speaking, two aspects of knowledge. One is spiritual knowledge, the other is material knowledge. Spiritual knowledge is derived from the scriptures and passed down through the disciplic succession. The disciplic succession should be genuine, and spiritual knowledge enables us to understand what is the purpose of life. So, Prabhupada in all his purpose has said the real purpose of life is to achieve perfection and freedom from the cycle of birth and death. These days, as you may have seen and noted, the miseries of life are just increasing. And the miseries of life are increasing, and materialists are trying to conquer disease with technology. That's not the answer. It doesn't matter how many new products are introduced medically. The reality is, both the disease and old age, can anyone avoid? You can't avoid. Therefore, Shastra say, Athata Brahma Jigyasa. So Prabhupada, his purport in describing the supreme question should be, who is the original supreme person? And Prabhupada writes in the purport, and Lord Chaitanya achieved perfection because he propagated devotional service to Krishna. This is the summary of the Lord's instructions. That if you if you engage in devotional service, that is perfection. So there are many subject matters for hearing. And a transcendentalist, he wants to hear songs, poetry, message, which he can glorify the Lord. And the easiest process for glorifying the Lord is the process of chanting the holy name. So Parikshit Maharaj is questioned, what should one do when one is about to die? It's very appropriate. We should preach this. And the answer given by Srila Goswami is a remedy for all our suffering. Now, why was Srila Goswami happy when he heard this question from Parikshit Maharaj? Why was he happy? He said that the answer to this question is not just for you, but for entire humanity. And the answer will benefit entire humanity. Similarly, we see in the third canto, where we read the story of Lord Kapila Dev. Kapila Dev's mother was Devahuti. And Devahuti wanted to know, how can one end the suffering and freedom from the cycle of birth and death? And Kapila Dev said, Kapila Dev was also very happy. He heard the mother asking, how can I free myself from the miseries of life? And what is our duty? And Kapila said, to engage in devotional service. You should associate with a sadhu. And then she wanted to know what are the qualities of a sadhu. And then he described the qualities of a sadhu. The famous words, Diksha Karunika, Sudha Sarvadhina, Vajata Sattva Santa Sadha Sadhu Bhushana, describes the qualities of a Brahman, of a devotee, of a peaceful, tolerant, knowledgeable. So, association is very important. And association helps us to make spiritual progress. Now, there are so many books, etc., newspapers, magazines that are being printed today, unlimited, isn't it? Prabhupada says that in making paper, you use a lot of pulp. And that pulp is on trees. And trees are just slaughtered to make paper, which what is going to be printed? Mundane literature, pornography, etc. That is criminal. So, the perfect solution is that we should engage in service to the Lord. So, Parikshit Maharaj was the emperor. He was so concerned that he wanted to make sure that all the subjects in his kingdom were happy. The Vedic kings were so God-conscious that they considered that the entire population was like their family. Like Lord Ramachandra, he would go in disguise and stand in front of people's homes just to see if they have any criticism of the government, of the government. So the solution is devotional service, which is emphasized in this work. The Srimad Bhagavatam discusses many stories. Sometimes I say that the Srimad Bhagavatam is like a storybook. And we have many stories. But all these stories have a message. They have a purport. And the purport is one should engage in devotional service. One should not waste his valuable human form of life. And we should engage in devotional service. So that is the sum and substance of Vedic literature. Prabhupada emphasized book printing. Why? Because the spiritual master emphasized it. Why? Because Thakur Bhakti would emphasize it. Why? Because the Lord himself says, this is transcendental knowledge. So the transcendental knowledge is of the essence. And unfortunately, we have so many so-called educational institutions, but there is discussion of everything but spiritual activity. So we hear Prabhupada says that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the Lord, we can achieve perfection. The Lord is transcendental, and activities are transcendental, beyond the material modes. And anybody who takes interest in that achieves perfection. So, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame devya. Evam viditārvata. Sakta deham punah janma netivam vidisarvajana. One who understands the transcendental nature of appearance and disappearance, he can achieve perfection. So Krishna's appearance is transcendental. If you were to describe the qualities and describe the appearance of the Lord, how the Lord appears in a superhuman form, then that is transcendental. Those who don't understand devotional service, to them when they hear about these activities, they say, mythology, imagination. How can God appear as half man, half lion? How can the Lord incarnate as a fish? They don't understand. The Lord is inconceivable. Achintya. Achintya means inconceivable. The Lord can do anything. You and I, when we have to eat, we have only one main route, through the mouth. The Lord can eat just by eating and glancing. For example, you take prasad, that food is first prepared, then it's offered to the Lord. And when we lift the plates out from the altar, we say, the Lord has eaten. So how do we say the Lord has eaten? The Lord has eaten with his eyes and ears. And then when you tell people, the Lord appeared, he eats through his eyes and ears, they will say, oh, how is that possible? This is mythology. So here Prabhupada says in the purport that the Supreme Lord is transcendental, and anyone who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and disappearance becomes free from the cycle of birth and death. So the main substance of the main purport of these stories is that don't waste your valuable human life. It doesn't matter how much material success you may have, it will not give you real happiness. Almanach said, people do not know how real happiness can be found. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, you see that the emphasis is engaging in pure devotional service. Now, in the initial stage, we may have no faith. But we associate, and through the hearing process, we get rectified. Just like Why we distribute books? Why do we distribute books? Because it has the Vani of the Lord and a devotee. And this Vani is not different from the Lord. For example, when you're reading the Bhagavad Gita, you're directly associating with Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but Krishna's Vani. Similarly, when you chant the holy name, you're directly associating with Krishna. Because the holy name is not different from the Lord. So, this is the value of transcendental knowledge. So, Srila Goswami is making us realize through these stories that human life should not be wasted. And Srila Goswami has given us ancient stories, just like in the 5th canto you read about the hellish planets. And Srila Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard how the living entity suffers for his sinful activities, he said, isn't there some way how they can be saved? And he asked Srila Goswami, how can people be saved from going to hell? Srila Goswami said, your question is glorious, and only by a pure devotion service. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya. The only way you can free yourself from the misery is by the pure bhakti. And then he went on to say that in the ancient Vedas, Puranas, I've heard about this story. And in the ancient Puranas he heard about, what did he say? He revealed that the story of Ajamil. The Ajamil story is in the 6th canto. And the essence of the pastime is that the chanting of the holy name can save one from the effects of any sinful activity. Just like dry grass gets burnt with fire and becomes ash, you can cleanse the heart. You can get rid of all your sinful activities and karma by taking to the path of devotional service. Ajamil, even though he fell down in bad association, his saving grace was he was still chanting the name of Narayan. And when he saw the Yamadutas, he got so scared, he called for his younger son, Narayan. So, naming children after the name of God is common in all the scriptures. So at one time in India, it was a tradition to name the children after the names of God. But, and this is true in other religious processes also. So, but now they want modern names. So now we see that the path of devotional service is the ultimate answer. Now what are the impediments? Krishna is saying, surrender to me. One verse of the Bhagavatam that almost every Hindu knows is Sarva Dharma Paritajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Ham Tvam Sarva Papabhya Mokshasami Ma Sujaha. Give up all varieties of religiousness and just surrender to me. And then, what will happen? I will give you protection. Ma Suchaha. Ma Suchaha means, do not worry. Do not worry. So when Krishna says Sarva Dharma, it doesn't mean just give up Christianity or Islam and take to Vedic way of life. It means that we ultimately surrender mind, body, and senses in service to the Lord. And Ajamil, when the Yamadutas came, there were 3 Yamadutas. Yamadutas are the police force of Lord Yamaraj. So Yamaraj has sent Yamadutas to bring Arjuna to hell. But when he uttered the word ran, Vishnudutas appeared. So they would see Yamadutas. Why? Because there are three agencies through which we can save the Lord. Mind, body, and senses. That is the perfection of life. So the senses need engagement. You can't artificially close your eyes and think you're meditating. And they often end up sleeping. So the point is that if the senses are engaged, then spiritual life becomes easy. If the senses are not engaged in emotional activity, it's a misuse of our senses. So in the Bhagavatam, the various stories all have a special purpose. So Parikshit Maharaj's inquiries are beneficial to everyone. So our endeavor should be to follow the process of devotional service. And it's not that if you come to spiritual life, Maya Devi is going to hide and not try to tempt us. When you come to spiritual life, Maya will also try to bewilder us. We saw that with Haridas Thakur. Such an elevated soul, Maya Devi wanted to test. So she appeared as a very beautiful woman. Haridas was able to resist that. Why? Because he was absorbed in the holy, chanting the holy name of the Lord. And Prabhupada says that we can still get the same protection if we also chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So this chanting of the holy name is the conclusion of the scriptures. And all of the Vedic scriptures point out the importance of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So the Supreme Lord is transcendental. And his message is also transcendental. For example, the Bhagavatam is worshipped. Why? It is the instruction, the message from the Lord. And every story is transcendental. So, the Lord is transcendental. We should not waste our life drinking poison. Manusya janma paya Radha Krishna na bhajya. Jnanya shunya pisha khaino. Having obtained a rare human birth and not having worshipped Radha and Krishna, or simply drinking what? Pisha. Pisha means simply drinking poison. So today we see a society which begin boast of its secular scientific achievements. We agree that science is making great progress. But is that seeing that the hospitals are empty? No, they are busier than ever before. Why? Because the miseries are increasing, diseases are increasing, and ultimately we see that no one is satisfied. One who is intelligent can see suffering all around, and therefore it is a desire to engage in devotional service. So the conclusion is the devotional service is the answer, and devotional service begins with Shravanam and Kirtanam. We've all heard this many times. Unfortunately, we're so obstinate. Even now we have heard it many times, but we don't take to this process. Therefore, daily reading of the Bhagavatam is essential. Even those devotees who can't come to the temple every day because they are engaged in professional work or whatever, should make it a point to read the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita daily. That will give us great knowledge. So, the second canto, we're going to describe the process of devotional service, and also, as Prabhupada said in the purport of the invocation lecture, that The Bhagavatam describes how the cosmos, the different planetary systems are made. So, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, the cosmos is explained, the planetary systems are explained, and it is explained what the environment is in the different planetary systems. So Srimad Bhagavatam offers not only knowledge on devotional service, it explains also how the cosmos is created and maintained by the Lord. And it also describes in great detail in the 3rd canto how the child develops in the womb of the mother. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge, and we should make it a point to study and preach the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. Every year we've been doing a marathon on Srimad Bhagavatam, and I think it's going to start in August. I think it's going to start soon.
It started before, in May.
Yeah, it's going on from May to marathon is just a process to you should work harder. But our goal should be to read the Bhagavatam and distribute the Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. I know. I'm giving time for questions. Any questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So, on this last point about studying and Bhagavatam especially, how we to choose what we're supposed to read? Because it's a big book. Are we supposed to read the whole thing, or we just read what we're inspired to, or what time we should read? Because we could be
there is no hard and fast rule that it should be read in a particular manner. The logical processes you read in sequence, like 1st canto, 2nd canto, 3rd canto. The Bhagavatam, those are all independent. But someone may be interested in the story of Vajrayana, someone may be interested in the story of Subhara Muni. Best is to read by sequence. Like we do in the Bhagavatam class. More questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Radha Mohan Das. Thank you Maharaj for coming to Toronto despite any hurdles. Maharaj, my question is, you mentioned Srila Prabhupada wanted us to distribute books because the Vani of the Supreme Lord. Maharaj, as a neophyte, I may be attracted to the service of the distribution, but we have all material obligations, distractions come throughout the life. Maharaj, my question is, how can I remain always enthusiastic and focused, not become complacent despite any material obligations and distractions in the service of book distribution?
Well, especially if you are in the household or ashram, there is always some material pressure, like you have to worry about earning your livelihood. In fact, when Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Narada Muni, what is, how can a householder achieve perfection? Narada Muni said, yeah, he has to earn his livelihood, associated with sadhus. But so we can still be enthusiastic for book distribution or preaching or reading or whatever. Just because we have material responsibility doesn't mean that we should not be enthusiastic in serving the Lord. sometimes you may have situations where one is may have too many problems, but the enthusiasm to serve must always be there. But that will only come if your Shravanam Kirtanam is solid. Spiritual enthusiasm is not like material enthusiasm. Spiritual enthusiasm is based on purity and are following the process of purification. Yeah? And we asked how to avoid being complacent. The thing is, Nada Muni explains in the 4th canto that sometimes we see that a patient is recovering and he thinks he's recovered, he stops to take the medicine. So sometimes we come to spiritual life and we are maintaining good sadhana, chanting, etc. Then we become complacent, thinking that I've achieved perfection, and then you get a relapse. So, to maintain spiritual enthusiasm, it is important that we also follow the process. And avoid offenses. Sometimes the aparadhas become so great in volume, and Krishna remove you from the path of bhakti. Any more?
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much for the wonderful answer. Maharaj, my question is, we are so conditioned and so used to our own self-certification. Although we read and hear that it should be all about Krishna's self-certification, we're not able to make a transition in our thought process to do everything for Krishna's self-certification. How do we make a transition from ours to Krishna's self-certification?
Well, Rupa Goswami explains this process. In the beginning there must be Shraddha, this desire. I must engage in devotional service. We must have that feeling. And then Krishna, who is in the heart, smelling all our desires, guides us appropriately. And how do we develop the desire? We were very fortunate. If we meet someone, sadhu, a genuine sadhu, and by following the process of devotional service, you progress from bhava to prema, Krishna prema. The process of bhajana kriya should not be compromised. And we've seen that practically ourselves also. When you engage in good sadhana, then what happens? The spiritual enthusiasm is high. And if we become lax, enthusiasm weakens. Any more questions?
Thank you. Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, we heard that you explained that he was cursed and he never tried to save himself. But it feels like probably most of us, if it happened to us, we will think, oh, I need more, if I stay alive, I will do so much service, so I should stay alive. And we will make arrangement. So, are we supposed to try to follow Parikshit Maharaj or be like him? Or how does that happen? Or is it in course of time we
Good question. Prabhupada explained in the fourth canto, the Parikshit Maharaj could have easily counteracted the curse by pleading with the Lord, please save me. But Prabhupada says a pure devotee does not ask the Lord for any favors. Parikshit Maharaj did not ask for that. He was a pure devotee. He knew that if he would ask the Lord, he would try to save him. After all, it was the Lord who saved Parikshit Maharaj when he was in the womb of his mother. So a pure devotee does not ask the Lord for anything. But he says, if you want to give me a benediction, give me the benediction that I will not be attracted to sinful life. Prahlad Maharaj had undergone so many difficulties just because of his attachment to Krishna. So when Hiranyakashipu and Prabhu was trying his best, but Prahlad was always determined. So the Lord told Prahlad, Prahlad, for my sake, you underwent so many difficulties. Ask me for any benediction that you desire. And Prahlad said, my dear Lord, I was not a businessman doing business with you, but if you want to give me any blessing, give me the blessing that all sinful desires in my heart may be smashed. And I have no material desire. Prabhupada was once greeting the deities, I believe, in England, and Prabhupada offered some prayer. And the devotees later asked him, Sri Prabhupada, what were you speaking to the Lord? Prabhupada said, I was praying to the Lord that I will never fall in my heart. That was his humility. So a genuine, pure person, he doesn't ask the Lord for any favors for himself. Parikshit Maharaj is an example. If he wanted it, he could have tried to counteract the curse. But he just considered it as an opportunity where he could fully concentrate in hearing the message of Bhagavatam. That's pure devotion. And it doesn't matter how advanced a devotee you may be, we should always think one is not advanced. Always pray to the Lord for protection, spiritual protection. Okay. Anyway.
Krishna, dear Guru, thank you very much for coming to Toronto and blessing all of us here. I have one question. It's also regarding enthusiasm. So, when we go through a lot of issues or problems in our personal life, the enthusiasm is there, but it's not the same when it was before. It's a kind of comes down and comes up. It's like fluctuating because as the situation goes up and down. And we try our best to keep ourselves in our sadhana, chanting and everything. And when we continuously chant and we cannot do anything about a problem, and we say like, no, it's in your hands, Krishna, and you just have to help us to stay strong and also guide us through this so that we can grow through this problem and not go through this problem. And when we do that, the family members will complain, oh, you're always rolling your beans in your hands and sitting here, you're not even thinking about the problem. So that's kind of a question, like how do we keep up the enthusiasm? At the same time, how do we tackle all these situations when one after another problem keeps piling up in personal life? Thank you very much.
Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, material life is, the material world is dukhanam shashvatam. Don't expect that I won't have any miseries, I won't have any diseases, or I will not suffer, I should not suffer. A devotee knows that doesn't matter what position you have, it's temporary and there's misery complete. Whereas a non-devotee, he tries to find, if anything happens that he doesn't want, he puts the blame on the Lord. So, the devotee should realize, I'm going to have material problems, but that doesn't mean I will compromise my devotional determination. Because obstacles, suffering will be there. You should not expect that now I've become a devotee, so everything I touch will turn into gold. Okay. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.